In this video, I'll be showing you 2 books that I acquired in the last 1 month and will be showing you 4 books that I read in February. So that means 2 books in my haul and 4 in wrap up. So let's start with this video. Hey guys, and welcome back to my new video. I hope everyone's doing absolutely fine. For those new to my channel, I'm Divyam and you will find book reviews, unboxings, vlogs and a lot many other fun stuff related to books and fandom. So if you're into that kind of stuff, you can hit the subscribe button. And now let's start with this video. Let's first talk about the books that I acquired in the last 1 month and we'll jump to the wrap up in the later part of this video. So the first book that I acquired in the last month was Sugibane by Douglas Stewart. So this is a Booker's Prize winner 2020 and I got it around mid Feb. I got this book because it was on discount. I saw a post in Broke Bibliophiles and I thought let's get this book because it's a man Booker's Prize winner, and I was excited to watch this author in talks with some other panelist in JLF as well. So I bought this book. I don't know much about this read. I just know it's a diverse read and it talks about intricate subjects as well. So I'm pretty excited with it, and whenever I'll finish this book, I'll definitely come up with a review. So this was the first book that I acquired, and this is Sugibane by Douglas Stewart, 2020 Booker's Prize winner. So yeah, let's jump to the second book, and you may have already seen that one in my mystery box unboxing. So that was Anand Neelakantan's Vanara. So this was the book that I received in that mystery box and would appreciate if you can watch that video. There are so much stuff in that box because there were some handmade items, some eatables and all those things. So the video is up on my channel, so you can definitely watch that. I'll leave a link in the description box below. So this is a book which talks about the legend of Bali, Sugriva and Tara. That means it talks about Vanara and other than Lord Hanuman. So I'm excited for this book. I haven't read any book by Anand Neelakantan, and I got a little excited after receiving this book because I haven't read anything in detail about Bali, Sugriva and Tara. I just heard about them from the folks and from Indian myths, but I haven't specifically read anything related to these 3 characters, though I have read quite a few books related to Ramayana, but I haven't gone much in detail about these characters. So I'm excited to read it, and let's see when I'll be picking it up. Most probably that will be the next month, but let's hope for the best. And let's jump to the books that I read in Feb, and will be giving a short mini review for all those books. So let's start with the books that I read in Feb, and we'll be giving a short review for the same as I've said. So first book in the sequence is Anxious People by Frederick Backman. So this is a book, it's the first runner-up in Goodreads Choice Awards, and I ended up reading this book and I liked it very much. I talked about it in my Instagram post as well. So this is a book which talks about a bank robber who actually ends up in an apartment but doesn't know what to do, and he ends up with a bunch of people, super irritating people. So that's a weird story because when I started reading this book, I was feeling what I'm reading, and in the first 30 to 40% of this book I was planning to keep it down. I was planning to not read this book because it was super confusing and the characters were super irritating, but I'm glad I didn't put it down because in the end I just loved it. It's a different kind of a book altogether. If you don't know who Frederick Backman is, so he writes such type of stories. I've read A Man Called Ove, and it was kind of similar because in that book also there were a bunch of irritating characters, and in the end I ended up falling in love with those. So that's the total case in this one. If you are into humor, if you are into comic, and if you are into comedy type of books, humorous books and some emotional books with a story, so definitely pick this book. And I would recommend not to DNF this book at the very start because the first 30 to 40% is really confusing. You may not get the gist of it, but after 50% the story eventually makes sense, and all the things happening in this book gets interconnected. So I rated this book 5 out of 5 stars, and Frederick Backman again is one of my favorite authors. I'll say that again and again because I just love his work. I've just read 2 books, but I'm a big fan of his. So let's jump to the next book we have in this line. So the next book in the line is Nicholas Sparks' Every Breath, and this book was in my TBR for the last month. I planned a TBR after so long, and I'm glad that I was able to stick with those books that I planned in advance. I picked 5 books I believe in the last TBR, but I was able to read 3 out of them, and that's a pretty great number, and I'm like super proud of myself that I was able to read those books that I planned and picked in advance. So this was the book, and it's a romance like by Nicholas Sparks. This is the first time I read any of Nicholas Sparks books, and I wanted to like review this one on Valentine's. I finished it like a couple of days before Valentine's, but I couldn't like shoot it like in advance, so I thought let's add a bit of my review in this video as well. So this book had two characters, True Walls, who recently moved from Zimbabwe to England to meet his like real father, and the other character is Hope Anderson, who is engaged to a fiance but is still figuring out what life is and still figuring out what she wants to do in her life, and she is like not happy with majority of the things. So these are two characters who fell in love in this book, but the things didn't go as planned, and that's the story of their like adventure. I think it is more than 300 odd pages. So I like this book to some extent. Like I rated it on an average side because this is the genre that I haven't like explored much, and I believe Nicholas Sparks went down so many good books, and I'm not sure how many good books he have written. Like this was my first, but I found these characters a little bit like irritating in between, but other than that I was finding it very hard to believe like how they ended up together so fast. Like though the author took his time in creating these characters, but still I was finding it a little difficult how they ended up together so fast, and that's one of those things I didn't like about this book. Though that can be a personal choice, but that's one of those things I didn't like. And the second half, like this book had two parts, one and second, so I like the second part more than the first because the first one was kind of rushed in my opinion. But anyhow, this was a nice read, and I rated it 3 stars out of 5, and would recommend if you are into romance or if you are a fan of Nicholas Sparks. So yeah, let's jump to the next one and see what I've read. The next book is something that I was planning to read from so long, and I picked that book in a warehouse sale like years back. So that was The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. So you may have seen my like weekly reading vlog, so I talked a little about this book. So I didn't like this book. I rated it 2 stars out of 5, and talking a little about the plot of the same. So this book is based on Rachel, who is the girl on the train, and it gives her point of view with 2 more characters, Anna and Megan. So this book provides 3 point of view story with the help of 3 point of views, and it contains like years, dates, because dates and all those things are pretty important in this kind of a book, in this kind of a thriller, mystery thriller. So that's the reason author included those dates and bits like day, month, year and all those things before each chapter. So you'll find that throughout. So as I've said, this book is from 3 point of view, but the main character from this book is Rachel. She used to commute between 2 stations every day, and she used to like observe things around her. She used to see all the houses, and she used to observe all the commuters and all those things. But one day when she checked news, she observed like one thing she saw a day before came into news, and she was shocked, and she just wanted to help. So that is one of those things from her book, from her story. And she's not in a perfect condition. She's living with a friend, and she's like drinking day in day out. So that's her like condition, and she's not very good in condition. So that's The Girl on the Train, and I didn't like this book because it was super irritating. I felt like the chapters was boring, and I was like keeping it down after reading just a couple of chapters, and I was not finding it much of a great read. Like I don't have much to say about it, but I was finding it super irritating, super boring, and the plot became too predictable for me. Like I read so much of Agatha Christie in the past, and it couldn't even match the level of those authors or something like that. But I'm not comparing, I'm just saying that I didn't like this book much, and I didn't shoot a review for the same like I wanted to, but I thought let's not do that, just include some bits in this wrap up. So yeah, people are big fan of this book, but I'm not. Like it'll go in my unpopular opinions list. But this was the book that I didn't like, so I gave it 2 stars out of 5. Let's jump to the next one. That's the final one. The final book that I read in Feb was Unfinished by Priyanka Chopra, Jonas. So I am keeping well with my 1 non-fiction a month this year, and I plan to do so for the next 10 months as well. So I did pretty well. Like in Jan I read 1, Feb I read 1. So that was Unfinished by Priyanka Chopra, Jonas. I've already reviewed that book. You will find the link to it up there, so you can check my detailed review. But talking a little about the same, so this is an autobiography. It delves into the life of Priyanka Chopra, Jonas, and it talks about her friends, family, marriage, career, life, and all the aspects, like all the aspects that made what Priyanka Chopra is today. So I pretty much like rated it on an average side. Like I rated it on 3.5 stars. So if you want, you can check and hear my views up there. Will not be going in much detail. So those were the 4 books that I read in February just 28 days in February, but I ended up reading like 4 books, so pretty decent number for me, like 4 books in Jan, 4 books in Feb. I'm not keeping well with my like reading challenge, Goodreads reading challenge, but still it's fine. I'm able to read like 4 books each month, so that makes it 52 this year. So that is pretty fine for me considering all those things that are happening in my life. So that was all for this video. I hope you liked it, and those were the 2 books that I acquired this month. Those were the 4 books that I read last month, and just wanted to share them with you all. So that was my book haul and wrap up. So that was all for this video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, you can hit the like button. You can comment down below and let me know your thoughts related to this video, if you have read any of these books, or if you are like planning to pick them up soon. So you can tell me in the comment section below. You can follow me over my social media, and you can anytime leave me a DM over there. I'll surely like reply. And do like this video, do subscribe to my channel. I'm so close to like 1K subscribers, and we'll be catching up real soon. Stay healthy, stay home, stay safe, and bye bye.